Hello guys, I am back from another video and today it's about what if Deku was experimented on. So, in the last video, we talked about how after he woke up in the nurse's office, being told that he'd gotten exhausted after the first fight, he decides to go towards the locker rooms to get ready for his second match, which is between him and Toki. So, after he won after creating this brand new weapon, which is basically just like ripping one of his like, or at least two of his like insectile limbs and using it as a bow. Not only that, besting her by basically tricking her. So after doing that, he starts going towards the locker rooms again as he meets with Damien. Damien would tell him that he's gonna be interning in his agency. After being told of this, after changing his clothes, he would hear noises as it's, well, Todoroki or Shota and a guy that's basically hitting on her. After a bit of fighting with him, Endeavor would come in as he would basically burn his arm as he would try to run away as he was told to go towards the locker rooms again. Not really locker rooms, or more specifically, it's more like going to prepare for his next match, yeah. When he was told that his next opponent is Izumi, getting ready, as when he did go into the stage, we ended off at the point where they're about to clash. And so, that is basically what happened last episode, and so, let's talk about what happens next. When they were about to clash, a huge gust of wind basically happened as everybody would be blown away as Izuku is basically fist to fist with, well, Izumi, as Izumi would create this almost black substance that turns into a whip. Yes, she did the master one for all. Not only that, using one of his like quirks, sorry about that. First off is this quirk, which is Black Whip. I'm not gonna tell you the other quirks that she has, mostly because, I never read the manga, kind of. But she does have her old quirk being fire breathing, as she would start shooting out fire with conjunction with the, well, Black Whip. Izuku would start dodging her attacks as he would start creating the bow again, as he would, instead of using, wait for a sec, instead of ice shards, he decides to use insects. He would start shooting insects at her, as she would start getting insects crawling around all over her skin, but she doesn't seem phased, and starts crushing them. Izuku would just get a bit angry because technically those are his, well, spawn. Not children, more like spawn. So, he would start charging towards her with his insectiles regrowing, as he would start using, well, martial arts, kind of. He would start punching her multiple times and starts using his insectile limbs to start, well, paralyzing her. She would keep, bouncing around using her quirk as she starts using full cowling to punch him. She would say, "Oh," as Izuku would start dodging her again, as she would say this, "God dang it, how is he that fast?" As Izuku would say this, "Hey, take this," as he would kick her right in the back. She would, well, basically flip, as she would start using fire breathing again to start shooting out fire at him. Izuku would dodge the attack, as while they were like fighting, well, wait for a second, god dang it. Inko would see him fighting, as she would say this, "I don't know who to root for. They're both my children, but I did abandon him, so I'm just so... Why did I do that in the first place? Oh yeah, I don't have enough money back in the day to help my own child. So that's why I left him. Decided to put him in the orphanage." She would kind of feel angry at herself, as she would start using more of the fire to start burning Izuku. Izuku would start getting burned, but his carapace would start blocking the attack. Izuku would start using his more insectile arm to shoot out, not really shoot, it's more like his poisonous webs. But he accidentally does it as he would start whipping it back, saying, "Oh no, 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 no," as it would accidentally slam onto the floor as he gets distracted, as he gets kicked right in the face by her. He would, well, wait for a second, compose himself as he says this. Ugh, God, that hurt. As he would say this, "You're good, but unfortunately, I'm much more trained than you. So, how about you take this?" As his legs would start transforming into grasshopper-like legs as he starts bouncing around, kicking her multiple times at rapid speeds. She can barely see him, as she would grab onto something down below, which is a piece of rock, as she would stab Izuku's leg. Izuku would feel the immense pain as he would start going back to his position, basically injured, as he would say this. "Hey, that's kinda cheating. Ow." As she would say this. "Well, you did use your powerful quirk to use, that." As Izuku would say this. "Touche, but still." As he would say this. "People like you should be a little bit more, how do I say it? Wait for a second. A little bit more mindful of other people. Allow me to show you what I can do then." As his spikes on his insectile arm would start growing, turning into more like, how do I say it? Like, more, it's kind of like an Indian guitar. Not guitar, Qatar, as in like a sword with that's attached to like a gauntlet, basically. But instead, the sword doesn't like go in front where you just like, I don't know, like punch a person or stab. Instead, it's more like going through the side, just like sweeping through the side, so you can just like slash at people. Basically, looking like that. If you can visualize it, that's basically what it looks like. He would start charging towards her as he starts backhanding her, using his blades that are faced like that to basically start slicing up her body. As she would say this. "I'm guessing you. Ow. Why do I feel tired?" As Ezekiel would say this. "Paralyzing agent. Pretty useful, I might add. Anyway, are you going to lose or not? Are you even going to win? I mean, I'm technically more superior than you." As she would say this. "I am not gonna lose. I am not gonna lose. Just like, just like." As she would start charging towards him, as she would think in her mind, "Just like how I am back in the day. I will not become weak. I will never be weak. Ever again." As she would start charging towards him, as she would start using her quirk again, but more specifically Black Whip, to start tying him up. As he would say this. "Really? Using my own trick against me? Heh. I'm guessing you've forgotten. I never lose." As he would start tying her up with his own strings, as he would say this. "So, hey." As one of them, specifically Midnight, would say this. Yeah?" As he would say this. "Is this a tie or..." As she would say this. "So, do any of you forfeit?" As Izuku would say this. "I forfeit the match. I mean, we are technically stuck now." As she would say this. "I guess so. I'm guessing now we're..." As he says this. "Yep, we're pretty much at a tie, so..." As now the winners of the sports festival, instead of being one winner, now there's only two. And these two are Izuku from Class 1A and Izumi from Class 1B. So, it's a tie as they started going towards the podium, as everybody's excited except for Bakugo being pissed off that Izumi won, but doesn't really care about like Izuku. The only thing that he cares about is Izumi basically being like, the winner. So, As everybody was being handed their medals, well, All Might would say this. Izuku, I don't know how to say this, but here, as when Izuku got his medal, it's half of the medal, while the other half is with Izumi. As she would say this, so you decide to saw it in half? As he would say this, yeah, that's the best we can do. We could have just made two, unfortunately, because, you know, as Izuku would say, Izuku would just say this. I see. Oh well. Anyway, a pretty good match, I guess. I should be leaving now. Come on. As well, wait for a second. What's it? Todoroki would start following him as they started going home with Mr. God dang it, with Mr. Endeavor. While they're basically leaving, well, Inka would just see them moving towards Endeavor's car, as she wanted to try and talk to him, but she couldn't because they already left. As she would say this, Izuku, so that's your name. I just hope that you're okay. As Izumi would say this, Mom, Mom, Earth to Mom, as she would say this. Oh, yes, Izumi. As Izumi would say this, can we leave now? I'm kind of tired. As she would say this, oh yeah, sweetie, we can go now. As the sports festival has ended. So, we move towards the, well, UA dorms as everybody is like celebrating, except for Bakugo because, Izumi won. Izuku is basically just like, just drinking, not really alcohol, or like some juice, as he would say this. So, I'll actually won the sports festival. As one of them, specifically Todoroki, would say this. Yeah, even though it's a tie, you still won. As Izuku would say this. You're right, but still, as one of them would say this, being Suyu, she would say this. Yeah, Midoriya. I meant Midoriya. Midoriya is their last name, so, like his last name now in this world is, like, Todoroki, so, yeah, Todoroki-san, or, Kun, or whatever. Let's just say Kun, okay? So, yeah, Todoroki-kun. I can't believe she did it. And and it's a tie. So doesn't that make you kind of, as he would say this? Anyway, I should be getting some sleep. After all, the next day is class again. So, my back. Anyway, night guys. As everybody's basically celebrating, Izuku would go to his bed as he would go to sleep. The next day comes after an awkward night because they were sleeping together, specifically him and Shoka, or Shika, or whatever one they called her. I seen a lot of like female Todoroki like names for her, but most of the time it's just like Shoka or something. So yeah, so when they did get to class, they were told that they're gonna be going to some agencies to train on becoming a hero because they're gonna be learning from the pros. As when they were told this, they would say this. So are we gonna get our hero names, or as he would say this, don't worry, I'm not gonna be doing this class. Oh, that's Midnight's job. As Midnight would come out of nowhere, as she would say this, hey kids, so I hope you're ready for your hero names, especially with your agencies, because if you're gonna be having a hero name, you need to keep it that way. Unfortunately, you can't change your hero name. Well, if you don't like it anyway. So, unfortunately, you're gonna be sticking with that name forever, just like Mr. Racerhead over there. As he would say this, at least it's better than Midnight. Anyway, It was a mistake of a name, and I'm going to go to my. I feel so sleepy. As he would go under the desk as he would fall asleep. As she would start telling everybody to pick their hero names as everybody's picking them. As for you guys, all of you decided on several hero names, but they decided to pick one of them. In this case, this one. This hero name. I think it's supposed to say, Kha'Zix? Or Kha'Zix? I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna be calling it Kha'Zix. So yeah, if you want to tell me the actual spelling, just say it in the comments below. So yeah, as finally everybody has picked their hero name, Ezekiel would come up as he would say this. Alright, here's my hero name. It's actually based off some certain mythology, but still. Here's my hero name. Kha'Zix. As everybody would just see the name as one of them would say this. What type of name is that? As he would say this. Well, it's actually from... Sorry, I'm just kind of tired, so let me just explain what it is and what's its origins. Wait for a sec. It means face yourself in... Actually, it's actually based off, not really Native American, I think. As while he's thinking, one of them would say this. What do you mean by face yourself? As he would say this. Well, it's simple. I face my true self, and so I decided to pick that name. How I realized that even though I'm a monster, it doesn't mean that I had to be a quote-unquote villain or whatever. So, that is why I called myself Kha'Zix. And I just realized it's actually also... the actual name came from... what is that called again? A game that I used to play. I can't remember the name. I think it was called, like... League, Legend, Summon thing. I can't remember, but I remember the character being named that, so why not? As all of them would just say this. Did you really decide to just call yourself a video game character? You just decide to name yourself after a video game character guy? As he would say this. Yeah, I think it was just a cool name. And besides, it's a pretty funny one. Anyway, what do you think, Midnight? As Midnight would say this. I think it's a unique name to say the least. So, why not? As Ezekiel would say this. Cool. So, anyway, I should be leaving. As in leaving, I mean picking my, hero agency. As, while everybody is picking their hero agency, he would go and do and decide to do the agency that he was requested by Damien, being his agency. Sorry about that noise. It's just somebody using their goddamn... seriously. I mean, this late? Seriously? Anyway, so, after picking his agency, the next day comes as everybody is going to their agencies, including Izuku, which he obviously knows, as when he did made it there, he was told by Damien to basically take care of some nuisances, to say the least. Mostly killing high-level villains and high-level crooks. Killing them in an instant with his poison. As all of them are basically just like, doing mostly hero work, for Izuku, he's basically just doing some old-fashioned murder. As in, like, murder, I mean assassinating people that are a threat to hero society. So, after a while of, like, murdering them, he would say this. That was absolutely fun. As he would say this. As usual, you're quite a terrifying person to be with. As he would say this. Says with the guy that literally has a quirk to explode anybody's head off. As he would say this. Oh yeah, my quirk. Mind blower. As he would say this. Your quirk allows you to basically explode a person. Specifically on the head. And I don't know how your parents got that idea of a quirk, or how the hell do you have that quirk in the first place, but still, you're able to make people kaboom their heads. As he would say this. Uh, People told me that I was not allowed to become a hero just because of my quirk. But I rose up the ranks of, like, the hero commission and became this. Huh. Oh, how they laugh in their graves. Or more specifically, crying out saying, why the hell did he won? As he would say this. Huh. You are right. But still, uh, I'm going to be taking care of some things, okay, guy? As he would say this. Hmm. You're gonna be taking care of some things, Izuku? Then what are these things exactly? As he would say this. Well, I don't know, maybe like eating, drinking. Do you want to join? As he would say this. Oh, glad to. But first, you have to finish this assignment. As he would say this. Really? Another assignment? Okay, let's see this. As he would say this. Good. Apparently, there's this villain that's been running around. He was also a part of the Apristiki project. As when he hears this, he would say this. Wait, what? I thought I thought every single subject in that damn place was killed or even destroyed. As one of them would say this, being a person behind them, but unfortunately, that person survived. As he would look over and see All Might. All Might would say this. This person seems to be working for All for One. He calls himself the Spawn. As he would say this, being, well, Damien, he would say this. Yeah, apparently the Spawn has a interesting artificial quirk. His quirk is called Eye of Delusion. It allows him to create clones of himself, creating endless armies of himself. And not only that, they have their own personalities. Not only even that, every time when he gets killed, his main body would basically disappear and turn into a puff of smoke. And when he does die, his mind will be transferred to the nearest clone, making him quite a deadly enemy, as you would say this. So does he have any other artificial quirks? As he would say this. Well, he has a simple regeneration quirk, but anything else, he's just a normal person with the ability to clone himself. As he would say this. I see. Very well. I'll take care of this task. So, Mr. All Might, what are you even doing here in the first place? As he would say this. Well, I want you to team up with both of these girls. As these two girls come out, as they would say this. Hey, Izuku, it's been a long time. As Izuku would see... Wait for a second. See Melissa. As Melissa would say this. So, how's it been? And I didn't know that you've been working for the Hero Commission for a long time now. As another person would come out, being Izumi. As Izumi would say this. So you're a member of the Hero Commission? As he would say this. You must be Izumi Midoriya. Huh. You're actually pretty strong during the sports festival. Not only that, you actually kind of beaten me. That's not a really well-known feat for others, because most of the time, let's just say they just kaput, to say the least. As she would say this, I see. Are you perhaps, as he would say this, yep, I'm also a part of the Prishtiki project. And the way I know about Mrs. Melissa over there, well, she was also a part of the Prishtiki project. She was quirkless, and she was given an artificial quirk just like me. As she would say this, really? As he would say this, yep, I was also quirkless, but I was bullied. Unlike her, she was praised. Well, I was just like scraping through the gutters until I was brought to Russia. Being a part of the Aprishiki project turned me into this. The man that you see here is experimented on, fused with the abilities of several different types of insects. Anyway, so, where's this Spawn guy? As he would say this, Damien would say, well, apparently he's been living in the outskirts of a rundown city, as he would point at a little map showing its location, as he would say this, so that bastard is staying over there. As he would look over and see this, as he would say, wait, he's also running a drugstore? As he would say this, not a drugstore, more like a drug cartel. As he would say this, then what type of drugs are though? As he would explain, these drugs contain artificially made quirks. Apparently he learned how to use these quirks thanks to his strong mind and smarts. As he would say this, really? Now this will be fun. Tear him down. Not only that, I'll be finding a person that's used to be a part of our little society. As she would say this, being Melissa. What do you mean by that? As he would say this, well, we're basically the same type of creature. Or species, to say the least. We're artificially made quirk users. You're a cyborg, I'm an abomination, and he's a goddamn creature of the night. Well then, I can't wait to finally fight him. And see him trying to, fight me. And realizing that he couldn't even beat me, even if he tried. As Izuku would kind of laugh a little bit. As, well, Izumi would kind of be terrified of him. As he would say this, what? Never seen a person ever been tortured, forced to kill people, thanks to the Russian government before? Well, I guess not. I mean, it's quite uncommon, in fact. Anyway, let's start going, guys. Because this guy is going to be having a lot, and I mean a lot of problems today. As, while he's getting out of the room, one of them specifically, well, Melissa would say this. As usual, he's kind of insane. As All Might would say this. Agreed. So, when he starts leaving, this is going to be the end of the episode. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be, making longer videos lately, but unfortunately it's because of, well, school. Sorry about that, but unfortunately this is going to be the end of the episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!